Bienvenidos worldwide fans of the planet's hottest entertainment with an edge. Jaime En Fuego here, and welcome to Enfuegotainment. Yes, that's right. Just still testing the waters with a bit of the resurgence here, especially in the midst of the tail end of awards season, because of the fact that, yes, just yesterday on, it was January 22nd, we got the Oscar nominations, the full ballots that will be broadcasting live on none other than February 24th at 5 Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern time. So yes, something very much to be excited about. And this is the first time in quite a while where all of the Best Picture nominations I have actually taken down and seen the last few years, as I was like kind of getting more into the horror coverage with the horror show and just losing interest in, just the whole grind of the awards machine and, corporate Hollywood and stuff like that. And also just, you have your big corporate Hollywood thing, and then you also have the pretentiousness of just art house Hollywood and the independent scene. And so it's like a weird dichotomy that the Oscars always brings a little bit of both of those to the table. But yeah, I've seen all 8 of the Best Picture nominations, and I've seen a lot of the other stuff that is going to be featured, from the Best Animated Films, with the exception of one, to most of the acting categories. And I'm actually going to be jumping in front of the red curtains and doing a bunch of reviews leading up to the Oscars, where I'm going to be reviewing all 8 of the Best Picture nominations since I've seen them, and then a few of the other considerable films where there's acting and directing nods and things like that. So I'm going to graze over a lot of the shorter categories here and just kind of let people filter in, because of the fact that, when it comes to like the short films and the documentaries and animated shorts and things of that nature, I can't take credit for, having seen a lot of those, but it is definitely a year as I'm trying to slowly, push forward some Enfuegotainment, just relaunch of coverage and stuff like that as the year, kind of grinds along. I'm going to be very vigilant about this. I still get, even though, we get a lot of comped tickets and stuff for the horror show, but that's all of genre variety. So that's, horror, fantasy, science fiction, and anything that kind of rides that line, so to speak. But I do have a very deep and inherent passion for just slow burn art house dramas. And, a lot of what I saw this past year, especially, as I had MoviePass at one point, and then, trying this A-list rewards, whatever, with AMC, which is actually pretty badass for somebody who I still get, heads up on certain advanced screenings, but they're primarily of the bigger budget variety, big action movies. Like I'm seeing, The Kid Who Would Be King. And so, I mean, I don't know. I'm still going to try to, do my best to cover all that stuff. But I really, in a lot of ways, would like to use Enfuegotainment here, as a platform for coverage of independent cinema and just, dramas. And even as, stuff gets into, if there's a good comedy, I will definitely go and try to check that out. And, I'm sure we'll do some larger roundtable coverage for certain big budget things and whatnot. And I'm also, I've been planning some coverage to do all of the Star Wars movies for quite a while. And then I saw our homeboy Lee from Drum Dums is already doing it. But I have my first episode of that coming on the 24th. May the 4th be with you, the 24th. That's when I'm going to be dropping each of those reviews, leading all the way up to the December release of episode 9. I'm even going to do like the Ewoks movies and the spin-offs, and might even surprise some people with that animated Clone Wars and stuff. But so that is not what I'm here to talk about, though. That's just a little heads up on Enfuegotainment. And I'm also, as you can see by the little Mikey here, I'm planning on turning this program, especially since I want to start doing some live news shows and things like that, all in this live format. I want to eventually have a corresponding audio-only version, throw it up on different podcast networks, Stitcher and iTunes and things like that. So that is what I'm slowly, pardon my French, working towards. But so on, as I mentioned before, 8 Eastern Pacific Standard on Sunday, February 24th, we are having an Oscars celebration that apparently is not going to have a host. For the first time ever in the history, and I was really surprised they didn't call in like friggin' Billy Crystal in the 11th hour or something like that. But It's not happening. Kevin Hart was the guy that they had initially lined up for this, and yeah, they kind of in an era where any terrible thing at any point in time in your professional life, and even before that, I guess, can be dug up and you can be raked over the coals and crucified for it. And that's not saying it's a bad thing, but and this isn't to inject personal politics or anything like that. You know, it's you got to be so careful in this day and age, especially even if you're talking about a controversial topic and you just, I don't know, even if you're making a joke, it's like the George Carlin saying about how, eventually there will be a point where you can't even tackle these serious topics with humor. You just will not be able to talk about them at all. I've always been a firm believer in the fact that you don't talk sex, politics, and religion in public, because those are like your three most taboo things, the three most personal things, sexual preference and identity, religion or lack thereof, and politics or lack thereof. More so lack thereof for me, being a registered independent and somebody, the most deep rooted that my opinions get with that stuff is the fact that I am an agnostic. So I guess my Reformed Baptist parents, they're just like, oh, his lack there, he's not going one way or the other. And as the good word says, if you're not for me, you're against me, and they say wishy-washy people are even worse than unbelievers. Not going to get into that, but yeah, I get a lot of that same rhetoric, unfortunately, from my political friends, having been raised Republican, having more Democrat friends than anything. But I'm registered independent for a reason, because I don't get myself caught up in either of those arguments, really. I do really like debating film, though. And so it's interesting because this is an award season where I feel like we definitely have a lot of deep-rooted social issues in a lot of the films, especially in the Best Picture, kind of category and stuff like that, whether it's Roma, whether it's even the fluff that was Black Panther and the awesomeness, the spectacle that it was. I don't know if I would say that it was the best superhero movie of all time. I have had some friends contend that, though. It was definitely a ton of fun. It was an African James Bond in every slick, just very tremendously done sense of the word. It had maybe the greatest villain aside from Thanos that the MCU has ever seen. And so really cool to see that get the nomination, even though some people still think that The Dark Knight should have received it. But so yeah, with Kevin Hart being the original host of this, and then the reason I got off on this tangent is because they dug into his personal closet, and I guess there were some people who didn't want him hosting this, so they went after him. And yeah, so he's not hosting now, but he obviously went on this kind of Save My Name tour, save my name, and he was on Ellen, and he was on a bunch of different, big time podcasts and radio shows and things of that nature. And he was also at the same time promoting his film with Bryan Cranston, The Upside, which I have not personally seen yet. I can't really say that the trailers did much for me, but it made a decent chunk of change. It is holding steady at the box office, and for that reason, there's a lot of people who are just like, hey, he's seemingly still professionally viable. He had Night School that did well. He's got the second Jumanji, or the third Jumanji movie, I should say, the sequel to Welcome to the Jungle, that's coming out this upcoming Christmas. I can't wait for that movie. That first one, or we thought it was a reboot, turned out it was a sequel, but the first one that Kevin Hart was in, spot on. So funny. But yeah, so he's not hosting, and apparently there's not going to be a host period, but they're saying there's going to be I'm guessing it's going to be a bunch of different performers that all kind of, shoulder and hold the weight and stuff like that. But let's be honest, there have not really been a lot of strong Oscar hosts in the last X amount of years. Honestly, there haven't really been a lot of strong hosts. Some people really like the Ricky Gervais approach, where he just talks shizzle about everybody and roasts them. Some people like the Kimmel approach. Some people, didn't we have Hathaway and was it Franco or something? Anyway, none of these were memorable hosts. And for that reason, and for the extent of the controversy, for the fact that it was so deep into the proceedings, they're not going to go with an official host. And there's some rumors about a bunch of different Marvel characters coming, which or Marvel actors who play characters in the MCU coming. And I guess that would make sense. And that would, that I believe Disney owns NBC, and Disney also owns Marvel. And Marvel has 3 different movies coming out this year, starting with Captain Marvel, which looks awesome. Brie Larson, extremely talented actress, super babe, Oscar winner as well. And I'm stoked to see her just, rocking the big screen. And she's got the 9 Inch Nails shirt on and all that, super badass. And then later on, like a month or so later, you have Endgame, the next Avengers film, which a lot of people assume is going to reset the universe to some degree. And then you have Spider-Man Far From Home, which trailer didn't really do much for me, aside from I dug the look of Gyllenhaal as Mysterio and stuff, and seeing the fishbowl on his head and everything. But obviously you can tell that Nick Fury and Peter Parker, they survived the snap, or something gets reset, or some time travel aspect. Who the hell knows what the Russos have up their sleeve? But yeah, there is rumor that Disney is going to have MCU actors be kind of the hosts for this, just a whole bunch of them jump in and host this Oscars on the 24th. But as I stop my meandering and actually get into just running down the list of all of these different films. So in animated shorts, we have 5 different films. And so the only categories that really, there's only one category that jumped up to more than 5. And that was a few years ago when the Best Pictures would allow up to 10, but it's not every year when that will actually transpire. It's solely at the discretion of the Academy if they want to go all the way up to their allotment of 10. They only elected 8 this year. So we have Weekends, we have One Small Step, we have Late Afternoon, we have Animal Behavior, and then Bao, I'm totally butchering that pronunciation. That, if I'm not mistaken, is a Pixar short, and that's going to be included in the 3rd release of the Pixar Shorts collection, which I totally want to pick up because I adore the Pixar shorts for their awesome ability to convey so much emotion and such just vibrant, engaging storytelling with no dialogue most of the time. It's really, really compelling and really cool. So I would imagine that is quite possibly one of the front runners. And if anybody here in either the live chat or the comments afterwards has seen any of these, since I personally have not, please chime in and give some insight about whether any of these are actually interesting. So I got Phil B on here. Hey, man, what is happening? What is happening? Eddie D! Have you seen Roma yet? Star Wars Rebels, please. Mark Pearson, what up, my dude? Hope the incoming little one is doing awesomely. I've got Eric Griffin, and I have my boy Melito. ¿Qué onda, wey? What's up, Fueguísimo? Tis I, wey. Hey, Paso, what is up? Yes, I have Roma, and I have seen Roma, and I'm going to be giving some brief thoughts here in a little bit about its chances for Best Picture, and also just to let y'all know that I'm going to be doing a full review of it here in the coming weeks, since we're just a little over a month away from Best Picture. So yeah, Best Short Film Live Action, and I'm going to breeze through these, more obscure categories where I don't have as much insight to impart. Best Short Film Live Action, we have Detainment, we have Falve, we have Marguerite, we have Mother, and we have Skin. Not familiar with any of those, regrettably, guys. So, but that's the thing. I really want to seek out, if I can, through the digital interwebs and such, all of these particular pictures this year, so that I can at least have some insight to impart. So now we get into Best Documentary Short Subject. We have Black Sheep. I'm guessing that is not the horror. Anything tied in with that horror film from, I want to say it was an Aussie horror film. We have Endgame. We have Lifeboat. We have A Night at the Garden. We have Period. End of Sentence. Both of those have periods after them. And then we have Best Documentary Feature, Free Solo, Hale County, This Morning, This Evening. We have Mending the Gap. We have A Fathers and Sons. And then we have RBG. Now, this is where I have to mention that there is some significant controversy because of the fact that a lot of peeps were pissed that Won't You Be My Neighbor, the documentary film about Mr. Rogers, did not get a nomination. Since I'm not familiar, I've heard the title RBG thrown around, and I've seen the Free Solo title thrown around. I'm not completely familiar with any of these documentary features. If anybody has seen them, please impart some insight. but the entire year, and I think it's probably because of the nostalgia factor of Mr. Rogers. I watched the hell out of his stuff as a kid, and I did always get just that sweet, caring, compassionate. I never thought he was creepy. I've talked to certain millennials and stuff, and they're just like, "Man, that Mr. Rogers guy is kind of creepy. He seems like kind of a whatever predator." And I'm just like, "Are you serious? Really? He was the one who fought for equality on his show in the 60s. He was the one who went before Congress and championed how important just having public television that didn't show kids just silly violence and all these other things. Now, granted, as a child and even now as a grown adult, I still love that stuff, but it was that counterbalance with stuff like PBS, with Sesame Street, with Mr. Rogers, that really just gave me a pretty interesting perspective. And so that's where, yeah, I can see why some people are pissed about the fact that it's a terrific movie and it brought me to tears, legitimately. The next one is where I can at least offer some insight because of the fact that I've seen one of these films, and then I know another one also got a nomination for Best Director. So, Best Foreign Language Film. We have Shoplifters from Japan. We have Never Look Away from Germany. We have Capernaum from Lebanon. We have Cold War from Poland, which I believe got a Best Directing nomination from the name of the director is Pawel Palikowski. All right, yeah. I saw that Cold War. It's a black and white film about the Cold War, and that's going to be on Amazon Prime here very shortly. I am going to be giving it a check out and giving it a review. I've heard a lot of people, especially friends of mine who are into comic book movies and big shoot 'em ups and silliness like that. They're like, "Oh, it was slow. It was such a slow burn. It was just so boring and dramatic." I don't know. Hey, that's the type of stuff a lot of the time, and it could really probably be said for Roma in some ways too. But Roma is the last of the Best Foreign Language Film nominations, and I was, Roma is a Mexican film from Alfonso Cuarón. I thought it was very, very well done, and I'm not going to really give a lot of thoughts about it here because I plan to expound properly on my ideas in a full review. But I would not be surprised if, just based on the politics of the Oscars, since I'm really thinking Roma is probably going to get, it got 10 nominations. I think Roma is probably going to get the Best Picture nod. I think it's going to happen. It's a beautifully shot film. It's very sparse, though. There's not, there's a decent amount of dialogue, but there's also a lot of just lingering shots with nobody saying anything, with no score. It's in black and white. It's a period piece taking place in 1970 in Mexico, where there was a ton of political unrest going down. I wouldn't be surprised if, since Cold War was not nominated, I wouldn't be surprised if Cold War gets the Best Foreign Language and then they give Best Picture to Roma. How would that make sense? I don't know. I'm not sure if it's going to get both. But yeah, so that's at least, the Best Foreign Language category. Now, next up, we have Best Sound Mixing, and then we've got Best Sound Editing. And these are where you're probably going to see a lot of the same, actually, with the exception of one. So for Best Sound Mixing and Best Sound Editing, we have Black Panther, we have Bohemian Rhapsody, we have First Man, we have Roma, and then the one where it kind of switches back and forth is A Star is Born for mixing, and that's a musical movie, and then A Quiet Place for editing. Now, A Quiet Place for editing, and I think this is the only Oscar nod that A Quiet Place got. There's a lot of people that were supremely saddened, myself especially, because of the fact that, being on a horror YouTube channel and that being the predominance of the stuff that I cover, but I'm really trying to get back to doing things here on Enfuegotainment. I personally thought that Toni Collette should have got a Best Actress nomination. She didn't get that for Hereditary, but really Emily Blunt not getting any nominations for. It's tough for a lot of films when they come out early in the year, and then all of these other films keep coming, and Sundance is really early in the year. Sundance is just about to happen, and that used to be where a lot of peeps debuted, especially in the independent circuit, in the more art house cinema type stuff. That's where stuff would hit, and everybody would be just so stoked about it. Yeah, so that's not unfortunately happening. So for best sound for mixing and editing, everybody is the same with the exception of A Star Is Born for mixing and then A Quiet Place for editing. I would really love, especially since Black Panther, Bohemian Rhapsody, Roma, those all got Best Picture nominations and a whole slew of other things. I would love if Best Sound Editing went to A Quiet Place. Give just some sort of distinction to that film and the way that it used sound or the lack thereof in such a fascinating fashion. It was such a damn good movie. I would have loved to have seen Krasinski nominated for a Best Director or, Emily for Best Actress, but that didn't happen. Best Sound Mixing. The only one of those films that I haven't seen is First Man, and that just came out yesterday. And I'm planning to. I love Damien Chazelle. I want to say the director's name is. La La Land was really good. I didn't think it was one of the best of the year, but I really, really enjoyed it, even though I'm not a fan of Gosling. And Gosling is in this too. So, haha, surprise, surprise. But Whiplash is bad ass. That guy's first movie, it was kind of a reinterpretation with Miles Teller of a short film that he initially did. And being a drummer, a skin smasher, how could I not love, love, love that film? So if I'm giving sound editing to A Quiet Place, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave it to something like, Bohemian Rhapsody. But I really, really hope A Quiet Place, being the only category that it was nominated in, being fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, having so many critics love it, since it's the only category, give them this category, And then for mixing, since I haven't seen First Man, I don't know. I wouldn't really be surprised if sound mixing went to one of the musical films, though, Bohemian Rhapsody or A Star Is Born. But then again, those were also nominated for a shizload of things. So maybe since First Man, it's about, the first trip to the moon and not so much that trip, but all of the personal dramas and, family struggles and stuff like that that went along with that. First Man, it got all of the visual categories, and that's all of I don't know, not just visual categories being sound and everything, but it's stylistic categories, I guess, and that's what brings us to the next one, Best Visual Effects, where you have Avengers: Infinity War, you have Christopher Robin, which I haven't seen, unfortunately. I've seen all the rest of these except for First Man. First Man, once again, Ready Player One, yuck, ugh. And then Solo: A Star Wars Story. This is once again where I can't comment since I haven't seen Christopher Robin, although I haven't heard that it's that good, which really disappoints me because that was one I was quite excited about. Ready Player One, it looked good. Not much else. Solo: A Star Wars Story, it was okay visually. This is where it would be really, really tough if I haven't seen First Man, but it'd be nice to see Avengers: Infinity War get an award. That would be badass. Okay, next up we have Best Makeup and Hairstyling. There's only 3 nominations in this category. I'm not sure if that is typical, but so we have Best Makeup and Hairstyling for Border. It's the only one I haven't seen. Mary Queen of Scots, which it was okay. I mean, but Vice is really, I can't say I love that movie, especially based on some of the slanted politics of it and whatnot. But I mean, the makeup was insane. I mean, just the transformation of both Christian Bale and I guess the only one who didn't really have to do too much transforming was my dude Sam Rockwell. But yeah, just for the makeup on Chaney for Christian Bale alone, I totally think that deserves to win and that will win. That's not really one that I need to linger on too much more. Let's see what the commenter peeps, if anybody else has rolled through. Chris Harstad was on for a moment. Greetings from the great white tundra of Minnesota. Hey, Chris, I'm not sure if you're still on, man, but how about the Stephen King book thing that is going to be going down where he's going to be doing a speaking engagement? It's early May, and then he is also playing with his band, which is kind of fun. So I'm going to be in the Great White North at a more desirable time to be there in early May, and I cannot wait. Phil B says, A Quiet Place seemed so original and great ways to build true suspense and made you think. Yeah, a lot of people were talking smack saying that it was too similar to, it was too similar to the Shyamalan, the Shamhammer, Signs, which I need to really sit down and rewatch and compare the two. But I thought both those movies were tremendous despite certain similarities. I thought the unique approach was the sound editing and the way that things all went and stuff like that. So now as we continue on to, as we are getting creeping closer and closer to the more high profile awards here, just like they do in in the Oscar show itself. Best costume design. We have The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which is a big time nomination for Netflix in the fact that they just recently applied for, I can't remember if it's affiliation, accreditation, whatever, but they applied to become a part of the MPAA because they want their original programming, whether it's Roma, whether it's Bird Box, whatever in the future, to be considered for any award possible. As a streaming service, they've got a lot of shite from some of the snobs within the movie industry, who were just like, man, streaming isn't real, that's to be in the cinema. And so that's why people like Amazon Prime have been, just going to extreme lengths to put stuff into theaters, it's almost like, best way I can describe it, how a lot of, I keep going back to horror, and let me just, take a sip of my water here. But, so a lot of horror films, especially of the smaller budget variety, they will do a limited release, limited run. And we're actually talking about this with Vince the other night, the director of Never Hike Alone. He was talking about even if it's one night only, throw it in a theater and then immediately put it on a streaming service or VOD or whatever. And so that's a way that they can wrangle around these constraints and stipulations and stuff like that. But to not have to deal with that red tape, Netflix wants to be a part of the MPAA, have their films rated that they make originally. And so, yeah, Ballad of Buster Scruggs being a Coen Brothers film. I watched a couple segments of it, the singing cowboy dude who turns kind of murderous and everything. I need to take the time, especially since this film got awards consideration. I will be in the next month between juggling Chiron, my band, between juggling, getting ready for our trip to Charlotte to cover Mad Monster at the tail end of February, and then everything else. I have to make sure that I watch this Coen Brothers film because I really like a lot of what they've done. Even if I didn't like Hail Caesar very much, even if I thought Burn After Reading was meh, it was just okay. Those guys have done enough awesome stuff. But so for best costume design, you've got that. You have Black Panther. Shout out, Wakanda Forever. You've got The Favorite, the Yorgos Lanthimos, I want to say his name is. He's a Greek director who did The Lobster, who did Dogtooth, which is his only film that I believe I have yet to watch. He also did, Killing of a Sacred Deer last year, which was crazy. Or I should say, the previous year, 2017. So moving on, Mary Poppins Returns getting the best costume design. That's another one of the few that I have not seen. I was supposed to see it on Christmas with the parents, but I got sick with the flu like a motherfucker, and that was rough. And so I didn't end up seeing that. But as I'm getting caught up on all my films, I really hope to check that out because I heard Emily Blunt is charming. Although a friend of mine who's really into theater, he was telling me he was just slogging on Mary Poppins Returns, saying it's absolute trash. Rob Marshall was the director, if I'm not mistaken. So yes. And then another Mary in the title, Mary Queen of Scots. Great costume, great hair. But despite the fact that I really like the girl from Lady Bird, and I enjoy Margot Robbie. I personally prefer Samara Weaving if it's going to be one of those Aussie ladies. But I really, as much as I would love to give the costume design to, this is a two-person race between The Favorite and between Black Panther, because everything stylistically about Black Panther just popped and was so badass. The way that they designed Wakanda, I am positive, now that I think about it, especially since a lot of people think The Favorite is a favorite to win Best Picture, I don't think Black Panther is going to win. I think it's probable. I'll get to the ones that I think are the most likely to win. But since I don't think Black Panther is going to win Best Picture, I really think that as beautifully as all of the costuming and makeup and everything was for The Favorite, I really do hope that it goes to Black Panther because it needs to win. It needs to win some Oscars because, I mean, dude did a hell of a job with just making everything about Wakanda pop and be so unique and so cool. Best production design being next up. We have Black Panther. Once again, we have The Favorite. We have First Man. Mary Poppins Returns once again, because Disney was vigilant with their Oscar, just pursuit and campaign trying to get recognition for this film. And then Roma once again. I really give Roma a lot of credit because making a period piece is tough as fuck. Like seriously, I can only imagine, especially down in Mexico City, where a good chunk of this film takes place. But then also the great stuff that they do in the farmlands and whatnot, in the rural areas, from the costuming to getting all the cars and getting all the places looking period specific and everything. This is definitely for me one of the toughest. I get the feeling that First Man is going to win one of these awards. I don't know. First Man also being a period piece too. Boy, production design was so good for The Favorite too. This is one where, unless we have one of those scenarios where like Roma, just based on the buzz, based on the fact that, okay, I'm going to be blunt. There is a very political slant a lot of the time. And there is, especially with current administration, and I don't denounce or talk smack or whatever, but the building of walls and all these other wacky things that there has been discussion about. I really think that as a big political statement, just allowing Roma to just sweep through and just powerhouse everything. I honestly hope that that's not the case, though. It is easily one of the best films that I've seen this year, but this is just such a tough category for me, between The Favorite, between Black Panther, and between Roma. The Favorite's really good. It's really good. It's the most easily accessible of Yorgos films. My father is part Greek and stuff. Loles. So I will not be surprised if Roma wins, but my heart is more so with Black Panther or with The Favorite. So now we get to a couple other fun categories. We have Best Original Song, and this is where I'm not going to know as much, unfortunately, since I've only seen a couple of these. And then we have Best Original Score, and the score is where I can at least chime in a little bit more. So Best Original Song, we have When a Cowboy Trades Spurs for Wings. I can only imagine that is about cowboy and getting killed, just James style. We have All the Stars, which is from Black Panther, terrific song. We have I'll Fight from the RBG. We have The Place Where Lost Things Go, Mary Poppins. We have Shallow, A Star Is Born. Gaga, y'all. Boy, that's a film that really surprised me and how much I enjoyed it. Although I wonder how much love it's going to get because it's a remake of a remake of a remake. It's the fourth version of that film, and I'll get more into why I think there were certain Oscar snubs as I get through these last couple categories here. But yeah, I don't think Mary Poppins is really going to win any awards. I really don't. Well, it was modestly reviewed. RBG, the song "I'll Fight." That's really interesting because of the fact that that's a documentary. I need to investigate more about what this all entails. Boy, All the Stars would be killer, but I really think Shallow is going to win it because that is the one thing, if I'm not mistaken. And please don't rack me over the coals too hideously if I'm mistaken about this. But I feel like I think the songs were primarily original for A Star Is Born, but boy, could I be completely wrong, and I will feel like a super dumbass if that is the case. Yeah, there's some terrific music in that film. There really is. Since I don't think A Star Is Born is winning Best Picture, and ironically, since, well, I guess you can't really have a Queen song be the Best Original Song. So yeah, it was an original song, I would imagine, since, I don't think you can give the distinction of original song to a song that was previously recorded, like in a different version of A Star Is Born. So yeah, I'm putting my money down right now that Shallow is definitely winning for Best Original Song. So keep me on deck for that. I'm just going to jump through Best Original Score real quick as well. I have not seen If Beale Street Could Talk, unfortunately. I know that's based on a YA film. It just got to home release, and I am planning to check it out. I know that just like with Black Klansman and Green Book, it deals with some tough, some tough aspects of just, you know, racial tension and stupid mentalities that I, as a kid in the 80s and 90s, really thought in a lot of ways that we were moving past, but apparently that's not the case. So that's about as far as I'm going to go into social discussion. But yeah, so we have If Beale Street Could Talk, we have Black Klansman, we have Black Panther, we have Mary Poppins Returns, and then we have Isle of Dogs. I love Isle of Dogs. Isle of Dogs has this terrific, just, well, very Japanese heavy score with, like, hitting gongs and, just and so many traditional Japanese instruments and stuff like that from the Far East. I love the score for that. Really, for me, if it came down to the two, I would be super happy if either Black Klansman or Isle of Dogs won. Both of the scores for both of those movies are exceptional. I love the Black Klansman score, actually. It's really great. It just feels so 70s. It feels like something that you would see, that you would see on screen. And, just one of these, I don't know, just like an undercover guy, going trying to do justice, which is exactly what we got here. It feels in some ways also like, despite being a Spike Lee movie, I guess in a lot of ways, somebody like Tarantino emulated a lot that Spike Lee did and a lot that was done in the 70s, as far as this, kind of, some people call it blaxploitation cinema, but I think that's a really just negative classification in a lot of ways. So yeah, give it to either Black Klansman or Isle of Dogs, and I will be super, super, super happy. And let's just make that the end of that. So I'm going to jump back over, check on any comments, see what anybody else has to say here. Lloyd Kaufman from Troma should be in charge of the MPAA. Eric Griffin, that would be an absolute disaster, but I appreciate your sentiments there. Jaime BP, I think Roma will probably win in most of the main categories. Black Panther has no chance. Yeah, I think Black Panther is going to probably win in some costuming and perhaps technical categories, but that is about the extent of it. Hey, Box64, watching from LA. What up, what up? How is it going? All right, so let's slog through the rest of these since I only have about 10 or 15 minutes left before I have to go to a company party. So, all right. Next, we have Best Film Editing, and the nominated categories, I've seen all of these films, are Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, and Vice. Best Film Editing. Honestly, for these, I would probably go, even though I was not a big fan of Vice, I would say this is between Vice and Black Klansman. And even though I love Black Klansman and thought Vice was just okay, I would probably give it to Vice for the sheer fact that some people I have seen, especially fellow critic friends of mine, they have said the movie was over-directed. What is over-directing? When you take more and more time to do quick cuts and, crazy film grains and, flashbacks and TV segments and all of the different stuff that is done in Vice. It is a tremendously made film, and it really jumps all over the place. How the fudgicles do you over-direct a movie? It's a term that I just, I don't know. I struggle wrapping my head around. So, yeah, Green Book and The Favorite and Bohemian Rhapsody. I loved all three of those films as well. Well, I guess I would say I liked The Favorite and Bohemian Rhapsody. I loved Green Book. But yeah, Green Book, it's easily here, in my estimation, between Vice and Black Klansman. But since I don't think Vice is going to win Best Picture, I am going to say, even though I think, no, I have to rescind that. Vice deserves to win, and Vice is going to win in this category. So I predict. Next up, we have Best Cinematography, and this is where Cold War's name is popping up once again. Yeah. Black and white film about the Cold War from Poland, which I have not seen. So unfortunately, I can't chime in here. And then Never Look Away is a film that I am not familiar with, and I am gonna look it up right now because I'm very curious what This is okay. This is a German drama, and I think was this the one that was nominated? I believe it was for best. Okay, so this is the one that was nominated for best foreign language film from Germany. So how about the Academy, the new, more diversified Academy, giving so much international love? Very cool. Okay, so plot inspired by the life of Gerhard Richter, who sees the film as an abuse and grossly distorting of his biography. Oh, wow. So apparently there is some sort of discrepancy. The story follows art student Kurt Bornet in post-war East Germany. He falls in love with fellow student Ellie Seeband, but her father, Professor Karl Seeband, opposes their relationship. Complications arise as Karl's role in the Nazi eugenics program becomes known. This sounds like some heavy shizzle, man, and I am extremely intrigued to check this out, especially with the accolades that it has received. So yeah, unfortunately for both Cold War and Never Look Away, I can't comment and give any insight about the extent of the cinematography for those. But yeah, this is another one for the other nominees being The Favorite, Roma, and A Star is Born, all of which I have seen. Man, the cinematography is ridiculously good in both Roma and The Favorite. I think it's really easy to have great cinematography in something like A Star is Born because of the fact that they went on tour with Willie Nelson and they were just opening up in front of his band for X amount of time. And that's where they got all the live stuff. And that was really some of the coolest stuff that they did. And I respect the hell out of great concert movies, being somebody who owns a ton of them, you know, from Pink Floyd at Pompeii to various stuff from metal bands that I like Arch Enemy and In Flames and whatnot. But this is easily in my estimation, unless a dark horse for one of those two foreign films besides Roma, Cold War and Never Look Away, really just imposes its will. But The Favorite being a Greek director and a period piece set in Britain in the 19th century, if I'm not mistaken. And then Roma, yeah, this is really a two-horse race between the Favorite and Roma. I would probably give it to The Favorite, you know, but that's just me personally. Roma, oh boy, it's so close between these two. I would be happy with either of those getting it. So I will just leave it at that. And okay, so next up, as we get into Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Original Screenplay, I'm just going to take one more look at the chat, see if anybody else has chimed in. Fuego, my dude Dino, what is up, man? Hope you and Ted are doing fantastic, old mate. Eric is just wishing him a good evening. Make sure you pack a variety of clothes for your Minnesota trip in May. It could be 30 degrees or it could be 80. Chris, that is not giving me much reassurance, sir. But okay, since I'm on much more limited time. I've just been ranting and raving and rolling here. So next up, going to the original versus adapted screenplay categories, what is nominated and what I think should win. So for Best Adapted Screenplay, we have A Star is Born, which, as I said, was made 3 times previous before this. We have Can You Ever Forgive Me, which is the Melissa McCarthy movie, which I have not personally seen. I know she got a Best Actress nomination, so that is one that, like First Man, like a few others, I'm going to need to track down and try to review. It's so funny because Melissa McCarthy got Best Actress and Worst Actress in the same year. I want to say that happened with Sandra Bullock one year, too. Then we have If Beale Street Could Talk, Barry Jenkins. That is one... If Beale Street Could Talk, if I remember correctly, I know Barry Jenkins did Moonlight, and that's one that I really need to check out, having won Best Picture and everything like that a couple of years ago. Okay, and then we have Black Klansman. That is actually adapted from the memoir of the African-American dude who was on that Colorado police force who, along with his Jewish buddy, infiltrated the KKK. Then we have Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Joel and Ethan Coen. Now I'm wondering if that is a remake of some sort or if it was based on a novel or whatever it may be. And yes, for Best Original Screenplay, we have The Favorite, which is, once again, that period piece that I mentioned. Emma Stone, Rachel Weisz, they're both terrific in it. First Reformed, which is the oh goodness, why is his name eluding me? The Ethan Hawke film, which a lot of people thought was going to get a bit more love and did not. That's another one that's on Amazon Prime I need to check out. Then we have Green Book, which I think is funny because Green Book is based on true events. So I guess there was never anything put to paper. It was just one of those based on true events kind of things. Vice, Adam McKay, and then we have Roma, Alfonso Cuarón. For Best Adapted Screenplay, once again, Ballad of Buster Scruggs, the Netflix film, getting some love. This is tough because since I haven't seen Can You Forgive Me and since I haven't seen If Beale Street Could Talk, I've watched a good chunk of Buster Scruggs. For Adapted Screenplay, boy, I am not sure about this. I know it's not going to go to A Star Is Born. That's not going to get Best Screenplay, even though it's pretty damn good. I really enjoyed the hell out of that movie. Boy, did it hit me in the feels. I'm looking forward to reviewing that as we approach. I would really, really like to see BlacKkKlansman win it, but I'm thinking that honestly, if I'm going to continue in the whole, the politics of the Oscars and how they try to give one award here and then give recognition in another spot there, so on and so forth. For Adapted, I would not be surprised if Beale Street Could Talk, Barry Jenkins, the Moonlight director's film, actually wins. But yeah, my heart is definitely with BlacKkKlansman because that was such a fascinating story. It tackled some tough topics, but it was still fun, and I just loved the outcast bond so much between Adam Driver and Denzel Washington's kid. I thought they were both terrific. So yeah, I would love to see BlacKkKlansman win, but I'm predicting If Beale Street Could Talk wins. And then for original screenplay, between The Favorite, First Reform, which I haven't seen, unfortunately, the only one in the best original screenplay list here, so I'm going to have to review First Reformed in the next month, the Ethan Hawke film where he's the priest. Original screenplay. I would love to give it to Green Book, especially since I'm not sure if Green Book is going to win Best Picture. If Green Book is not going to win Best Picture, and I think Green Book is maybe my favorite of those 8 films. It's not my favorite movie of the year, but it's my favorite of those 8 films. Green Book is another one of those that tackles tough topics, and yet I felt like it did it tastefully. I'm really excited to take my parents to see it. I would love to see Green Book win, but I think original screenplay is either going to go to Roma or it's going to go to The Favorite, or hey, maybe Dark Horse Vice will swoop in because but the Hollywood Foreign Press just gave so much love to Vice. I feel like they got all of the rocks off, in the critical community, both here and abroad. That came off there. Roma might get it, but Roma will probably get it. It's either going to be Roma, Vice, or The Favorite, but I would love to see Green Book take it. That would warm my heart. Now we get into the nitty gritty, the last couple categories. And first off, we have the Best Animated Feature. Best Animated Feature. I have seen all but one of these films. I've seen Incredibles 2. I've seen Isle of Dogs. I've seen Ralph Breaks the Internet. I've seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Mirai is the only one that I have not seen. And that one is a Japanese anime film. And it's about this kid who basically realizes how different his life has instantly become when his baby sister is born. And then he goes and wanders out into this garden and has presumably like some sort of psychedelic experience where he's jumping around in various iterations of time. He meets his mother when she's much younger. He meets his baby sister when she's far older. And it all, in turn, eventually gives him some significant perspective about just his own family dynamic and interactions and stuff. So I'm definitely, especially if it's a nominated animated feature, I'm going to be checking that out. I'm also going to be doing reviews of Isle of Dogs, Incredibles 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. For me, I liked Incredibles 2 better than the first one. I will first and foremost throw that out there. I liked Ralph Breaks the Internet better than the first one. But I really feel like Disney, I don't want Disney to win this category. It has to be Isle of Dogs or Spider-Verse because both of those were so friggin' good, so ridiculously beautiful, especially in the distinction of their animation. I had some friends that loved Fantastic Mr. Fox that did not like Isle of Dogs, and that just blew my mind. And then Spider-Verse, it's groundbreaking in its combination of 2D and 3D animation. It's a beautiful film. Holy God, is it great. And so I will be happy if spiders or dogs, either of those win. It's Spider Pigs fan. It's Peter Porker. I will say at the end of the day, while I found Spider-Verse more visually stimulating, trippy, and beautiful, especially since I saw it in 3D. I would prefer to see Isle of Dogs. I would prefer to see he's very hit and miss, with a lot of people. He really, really is. But oh man, I really enjoy the work of oh goodness, why is his name eluding me? I'm gonna feel like such a dunceoid. No, dead air, Fuegies. This disambiguation. He's one of my favorite directors. Why is it eluding me? Wes Anderson, Derps. Yeah. I love Zissou. I love the Hotel Budapest. So many things, but yeah. So I'll be super stoked if Spider-Verse wins it though. So either of those, and I will be a happy camper. And now we are officially jumping into the last 5 categories as I wrap things up here, since I've been going for nearly an hour now. We have the Best Supporting Actor category, and there's a lot of people that were really thinking the kid from Call Me By Your Name should have been here. Timothée Chalamet, I want to say his name is, for a film that he did called Beautiful Boy, with none other than Mr. Michael Scott himself, Steve Carell. But yeah, he did not get a nomination for his role as the son of the drug addicted son of Carell's character. And I've heard his performance is great. Currently on Amazon Prime. A lot of people were surprised by that, and a lot of people think Sam Rockwell as George W. Basically got the nomination in his stead. And he just won an Oscar last year for 3 Billboards. 3 Billboards was a really, really good movie, and his performance was great too, even if I kind of thought Woody Harrelson was better. But I will watch Sam Rockwell in anything, and he crushes it in like the 10 minutes that he's in this film. But so there's some controversy there. Richard E. Grant for Can You Ever Forgive Me, which is, as I said, the one with Melissa McCarthy. And we also have Sam Elliott for A Star Is Born, the first time dude has ever been nominated for an Oscar. So he was great in it, but he wasn't really doing too much different from his own character. And then we have Adam Driver from BlacKkKlansman, which is a really awesome surprise to see. And then we have Mahershala Ali for Green Book. For me, this is a 2-horse race between Driver and Ali. I will be totally, completely happy if either of them get it. Man, Adam Driver was so much better in BlacKkKlansman as the Jewish co-investigator. He basically becomes the face of the BlacKkKlans, or the KKK infiltration that Denzel Washington's kid goes through. Ali is so good in Green Book. He is like a revelation to me in that film, man. So I think it's going to be one of those two for sure, unless they decide to do what the Academy does and like give the consolation prize to Sam Elliott. But boy, I honestly hope they don't do that. Best Supporting Actress next, we have Amy Adams for Vice. We have Marina de Tavira for Roma. We have Regina King for If Beale Street Could Talk. We have Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz, both for The Favorite. Okay, I don't want Amy Adams to get this, even though she's great as Chaney's wife, as the counterpart to Ms. Christian Bale in that particular film. And once again, I haven't seen If Beale Street Could Talk, so I can't comment either way. I personally think Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz are going to cancel each other out for The Favorite. It's going to be like, yeah, they're just gonna. I think the dark horse in this, and the one that maybe not even as a dark horse, the one that I think is the favorite, especially since a lot of people didn't think that she was going to be getting the nomination, was Marina de Tavira. If I'm not mistaken, she was I just want to double check that I'm getting this right. If I'm not mistaken, she is the woman who played yes, indeed. So she's the employer, the wife employer of our main character in Roma. She is the husband to a doctor who they are obviously having some just relational strife and stuff like that. She is terrific in the movie. She is really, really, really good. And I would give it to her. I think she really, really needs to get it. So now we get into the best actor and actress category. So we are rounding things out here. Best actress, we have Yalitza Aparicio, and that is for Roma. We have Glenn Close for The Wife. We have Olivia Colman for The Favorite. We have Lady Gaga for A Star Is Born. I am not a big Gaga fan, but I've grown to respect her more and more over the years, and she really surprised me in this film. And I look forward to reviewing A Star Is Born and giving my full-on discussions about it in the coming weeks before the Oscar as we round out the Oscar season. And then lastly, Melissa McCarthy, Can You Ever Forgive Me? That is, I haven't seen that, and I haven't seen The Wife with Glenn Close. A lot of people think Glenn Close is winning this distinction. This is going to be like what they did with, Crimbus. It's going to be what it's going to be what they did with Gary Oldman last year, where, he won playing Churchill, and a lot of people were like, no, that wasn't the best, performance of the year, but it was like one of those, okay, almost like a borderline lifetime achievement kind of thing. There's a lot of speculation that Glenn has been nominated 6 or 7 times before, and that she's finally getting it for The Wife. I know a lot of people would love to see the girl from Roma get it. Gaga was terrific. Olivia Colman was really good in The Favorite, but I wouldn't say it was like the most amazing performance of the year or anything. And honestly, I mean, Yalitza from Roma, she's really good, but she's never acted before, and I feel like that was both a blessing and a curse, because I don't really feel like she was acting so much in it. That she's a very quiet person in the film, and she just goes around and observes and talks just very, very meekly and like borderline silently. And yet, as a servant, as a maid, for a rich Mexican family in the early 70s, I mean, I would imagine that was the motif, and is probably still the motif in a lot of different areas and stuff. So, I can't say I would give it to her, although I know the Academy likes to reward these kind of fish out of water, or just getting your feet wet, just jumping in type of thing, where you're not used to the area and scenario that you have found yourself in. So the favorite, a lot of people believe, is going to be Glenn Close, but Gaga was a lot better than I thought she was going to be in this, but she doesn't deserve Best Actress, even though I think she won at she won at one of these ceremonies just the other day recently. So I think it's between the girl from Roma and between Glenn Close. Sorry, Melissa McCarthy. But now we get to Best Actor. Best Actor. We have Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody. Based on the Bryan Singer stigmas, I don't necessarily think that's happening, even though I thought his performance was really, really good. The overbite was just a little bit much. Willem Dafoe at Eternity's Gate, where he's playing Da Vinci, if I'm not mistaken. This is the only nomination that this film got, but for it to get for Dafoe in Best Actor, I don't think this is going to be a Glenn Close scenario. He was just nominated last year for the Florida Project, which was great. A24, represent, shout out. Christian Bale for Vice, playing Cheney. Bradley Cooper for A Star Is Born. He's great in that movie, man. I really, really, but boy, I might give it to Viggo Mortensen for Green Book. I just might, because his character is, the arc of his character is, some people may think it's a little cliched, it's a little tropey, it's a little whatever, without spoiling anything. I enjoyed the hell out of that performance, but then again, Rami Malek, man, dude from Mr. Robot, gives such a great job as Freddie Mercury. I really feel like this is one of the toughest categories to predict. I think that it is between Viggo, Rami, and between Christian Bale. Christian Bale's won before, though, but I guess not for Best Actor. I don't know. If it's at the end of the day, for me, I would be happy with either Rami or Viggo getting it. Christian Bale is pretty damn good, though, but I'm not going to really say much beyond that. So, okay, y'all, we're at the last 2 categories as I wrap things up here. Best Director, Adam McKay for Vice, Yorgos Lanthimos for the favorite. And here we see the Polish film Cold War. Paweł Pawlikowski jumping back in. We have Spike Lee for BlacKkKlansman, and then we have Alfonso Cuarón. Interesting. Alfonso was obviously won before, so I don't think he's getting Best Director unless they just go Roma sweep status for this, which they might. My gut is telling me it's going to go either to the young buck for Yorgos or it's going to be Spike Lee. And honestly, if either of the two of them win, I will be super, super stoked. Alfonso has won before, and with good reason. He's a tremendous director. I will watch anything dude does. But Spike Lee, I mean, he is one of the most iconic and one of the most controversial, especially topic-wise. If I'm going to say a better directed film, I would, up until the end, I would probably say The Favorite, but BlacKkKlansman is so neck and neck. So between those two, between Spike and between Yorgos, my Greek, fellow, yeah. I can't say I know which of the two. If we're going the lifetime achievement status thing, if we're going, the vibe that everybody's getting from Glenn Close and so on, I would say Spike Lee will probably win for Best Director, but you may have Yorgos sneak in because this is his most accessible film of all time. And now we get to the Best Picture. Drum roll at the 91st. Yep. I don't want to mess up my Mikey here. Best Picture. The 8 Best Pictures, according to the Academy. I don't agree with all of these, but, nonetheless, we have Vice, directed by Adam McKay. We have A Star is Born, directed by Bradley Cooper. We have Roma, directed by Alfonso Cuarón. We have The Favorite, directed by, Yorgos Lanthimos. That's right. We have Roma, Alfonso Cuarón. We have Black Panther by Ryan Coogler. We have BlacKkKlansman by Spike Lee. And lastly, we have Green Book by Peter Farrelly, which is, a lot of people thought that he should have been nominated for Best Director. A lot of people also thought that instead of the Cold War director, that Bradley Cooper should have been in there. And he directed the hell out of that movie. But I think one of the reasons why Cooper was left out of the director's seat was because it got Best Director. It got a Best Picture nomination. He got nominated for Best, Actor. It got all these other things, and it's you got to think you're directing a remake of a remake of a remake, and so for that reason, I think that's probably why it didn't get nominated, and I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that, and people are a little more sore about Green Book, Peter Farrelly, because of the fact that this is Peter Farrelly of the Farrelly brothers. We're talking Kingpin and Dumb and Dumber, and There's Something About Mary. All exceptional films, all films I own that are sitting on my shelf here at Casa Calejante. But nonetheless, that's the one that makes me scratch my head just a little bit more so. And honestly, for not getting Best Director, maybe that's, once again, the Academy trying to sprinkle things around. If they end up giving Best Picture to Green Book, which I don't think they're going to do, but it's definitely not going to be A Star is Born. It's definitely not going to be Bohemian Rhapsody. A lot of people are really wondering if it's going to be Black Panther, and if that's just going to shock everybody, and they'll give all the, more artistic, approach, awards and stuff to Roma and to a few others. My heart in this, it's not going to be The Favorite. Boy, this is tough. For me, it's probably between Roma and Green Book, depending on if you want to go for more of a feel-good, just kind of happy movie that with tropey at times, but exceptionally acted and written and filmed. And I liked Green Book more than Roma. Okay, I did, but I appreciated so many of the lingering shots and so much of the just social relevance and everything that was coming together. But if we're talking about just a feel-good, enjoyable movie, as opposed to just a very, very deliberate and not direct, in my opinion, indirect artistic, just, I don't know, defining just moment and whatever. That is more so what Roma is. So, yeah, for Best Picture, y'all, what is your Best Picture? Let me know in either the chat before I wrap things up here and in the comments below. What do you think should be winning in these categories? Give me your, favorites, your predictions, and all of that other stuff. For Best Picture, though, for me, it's Green Book for me. I loved Green Book. It made me happy, and I just loved the era. I loved the music. I loved the dichotomy between the characters, and that's one that, along with BlacKkKlansman and Black Panther and Bohemian Rhapsody and The Favorite and Roma, A Star Is Born. Honestly, of these 8 pictures, the only one that I can't say I was particularly fond of was Vice. Yeah, but I loved A Star Is Born. I really liked Roma. I adored Green Book. I quite enjoyed The Favorite. I quite enjoyed Bohemian Rhapsody. I really, really liked Black Panther, and I loved BlacKkKlansman. So I guess you can see maybe I should do like a Best Picture Oscar nomination ranking of sorts. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much the end of the road for me here. I've been going for just a little over an hour. I'm going to see if anybody else has jumped on and said, what's up? Okay. Rushmore 309, First Reformed is a great film with an ending that really stays with you. And Rushmore 309, I hope you're still hanging, man, because that is the vibe that I got from the trailers. And, I really like Seafried. Amanda, Seafried, whatever. Ethan Hawke, I've been watching anything. He's a tremendous, tremendous dude. Yeah, loved Isle of Dogs. Wes Anderson's The Shizzle. There you go. Great stream. Needs to go back and watch from the start. Yep. Love to see Sam Elliott finally be recognized. That would be interesting. The tough thing is, I don't think he gave the best supporting performance of the year. That's the tough thing. That's the tough thing, man. The Favorite. Cool beans, Fuego. Right on. Phil B, good stuff, man. Have a good night. Yeah, so I'm extending a grande gracias. I am running out to a company party right now, but yes, I hope things were lit at least a little bit better. I got some hell from a very, very good opinion that I respect the hell out of, and she was just like, dude, your lighting is bad. And that's because I'm still testing the waters with this. I've got a green screen order coming and a few other things, and I'm just debating what I want the look of this all to be. But in the coming weeks, there's going to be reviews of many of these Oscar-nominated films, but most notably the 8 different films that have been nominated for Best Picture. So you can look forward to those. And those will not be live. Those will be pre-filmed. And so those will look a little bit better, and you'll have your proper Enfuegotainment, In Flames intro music, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I have been Jaime En Fuego. Y'all can find me on all social media sectors like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, obviously here on YouTube, and also on The Horror Show at youtube.com/The Horror Show channel, where we do 2 episodes a day. And yeah, everything under the horror umbrella for y'all to check out. So once again, I've been Fuego. Y'all have been awesome. And until next time, hasta luego, cinemigos. I hope that we get to reconnect sooner rather than later. And yeah, don't be strangers. I'll see y'all later. Adios. Thanks, peepers. Much love to all of you. And yeah, thanks again.